program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is lightning in a bottle, the kind of show that could never be remade, but that doesn't stop Netflix from trying. Netflix just released their live-action adaptation of Aang's journey, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to revisit the world of the animated show. Hey guys, before the video starts, I want to give a huge thank you to all of you guys. The growth has been insane lately, and the fact that I can create these builds that are based off of stuff that I love and it resonates with so many of you, it's truly incredible, and it inspires me to be a better LEGO builder. And in an effort to give back to the community, I've created a Discord server where we'll be able to grow as LEGO builders together. I'll also be hosting giveaways, the first of which will be March 2nd, and you'll be able to win this. It's a GWP set from last year, so join the Discord server in the description below. The information on how to join the giveaway will be over on the server, and yeah, on with the video. Today, I want to truly challenge myself in a way I've never done before. I landed on the Western Air Temple as my challenge. The entire structure is built upside down to hide itself from the average passerby. It even hosts my favorite Atla moment.
Hello, Zuko here.
You can imagine how difficult this mock is going to be, and I'm taking the challenge seriously, since it has the potential to be my best work yet. To prepare for the build, I scoured through my collection and picked out all of the dark tan that I have. The results were, frankly, disappointing. Wow, deja vu. I know I'll have another expensive project on my hands, but I want to see how big it'll end up first, so I constructed a platform frame to build the canyon walls on, making sure to plate the entire thing for maximum sturdiness, but I wasn't satisfied, so I flipped it around and lined it with Technic bricks, using pins to keep everything together, and then placing the bricks in areas that I knew were going to have to withstand extreme amounts of weight. Here's how big the platform ended up being. I might add a little more later, but this is what we're working with. Next, I spent $50 on Bricklink dark tan parts to use for the cliffside. While I wait for the parts to arrive, I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, minifigures.me. For this build, I knew I would need minifigures to populate the temple, but LEGO's official figures are extremely rare. Thankfully, minifigs.me came in clutch with their amazing products. You can find all of their custom designed minifigures on their website. They've got tons of pop culture references and even custom accessories for any occasion. While these minifigures aren't officially from LEGO, they are printed on genuine LEGO parts. They were kind enough to send over these Avatar products for today's video. We've got the whole gang here, each one oozing with so much personality, and while I was sent these for free, all opinions expressed are my own. That being said, I love these. They make the perfect alternative and are well worth the price. My favorite part is the inclusion of a second head for Aang to show him in the Avatar state. I will say, because they're so detailed, they look a little cursed when placed next to a standard minifigure. That's water under the bridge though. If you want to get some of these figures for yourself, go to the description of this video to use my affiliate link. It'll give you 10% off your order and it'll help me out a ton. Anyway, the parts have arrived, so let's get back to it. Here's everything we bought, and because it's such a big project, I'll be keeping the parts separated in this thing I got from Home Depot. It's technically supposed to be used for screws, but you're not a true master builder unless you organize your bricks with equipment meant for screws. Poor, naive me thought all these bricks would be enough. To start off, I'm gonna begin working on the memorial you can see right here. It's got 3 statues that sit in a row alongside the platform, and even though it's the same color as the cliffside in the cartoon, I'll be using tan bricks so it's easy to distinguish it apart from the cliff, but also shrink it just for scale's sake. A hop, skip, and a jump later, I finished the first segment and began expanding the area that I've rockworkified, patent pending. I'm sprinkling some other colors to give it a bit of a variety, including a tannish orange to represent clay, and various greens to give the appearance that it's overgrown. Honestly, this part was easy, and I was feeling pretty good, so let's try to hold on to this momentum. The biggest challenge was figuring out what technique I could use to keep the upside down temples in place without making everything fall apart. TD Bricks attempted this a few years ago, and in the video he says this.
I do kind of regret making this only 2 bricks thick. The cliff does bend a little bit since a lot of weight is being stressed on this.
So I took a mental note from him and started brainstorming ways I could improve on his design. Big shout out to Ty, check him out in the description, he makes great content. I opted for placing Technic beams at the base of the build that'll feed up through the cliffside before connecting to the temples. This section of the cliff will be built upside down as opposed to the base, which is laying on its side, and then I'll cover the entire build with a 4th segment built right side up. It'll make sense as we go, I promise. Or rather, I hope, because at this point I'm not 100% sure I can pull it off. In my last video I mentioned how much I like this rockwork technique, and while that still holds true, I had to do so much of it for this build. It'll all be worth it once it's done, but it's a lot to tackle in the moment. Here's the 2 columns that'll make up the base of the, well, I don't know what you would call it. Let's call it the fountain's chamber. I'm placing these black pillars to represent the metal beams in the show that they use to protect themselves from Sparky Sparky Boom Man. In the reference material, you can see this fountain build that flows through the chamber and then spills out into the cliffside, and to get the water across, I'm using light blue bricks with random translucent blue plates and tiles to give it some texture. Next, I place 2 more columns so I can set the build upright, which means I can finally put down our minifigures and build the rest of the chamber around them. This segment was a highlight for me. The architecture reminds me of this old MOC that I built. The ruined temple build can either inspire me or terrify me depending on the context. I continued building up the cliffside to support the fountain's chamber and started planning out how the temples would look. We also got another batch of plants and bricks, which will hopefully mean I don't have to spend any more money on this build. I swear, the Titan Tower was so big and expensive, and then I immediately decided to outdo myself. I don't know what I was thinking. Please guys, throw a comment down for the algorithm to save my wallet, thank you. To maximize my part output, I shifted from using just dark tan to brown also, which I think gives it a lot more flavor, so it ended up being a great choice. For the final segment, the one that'll be built upright, I'm using mixel ball joints to hold it in place, which was such a goated move. Guys, if you're ever worried about how to get an angle done in your builds, try this. They allow for so much angled variety. I didn't record much of this portion of the building process, which is probably for the best since this script is already 5 pages long, and we haven't even gotten to the final show off. So let's jump forward to get a look at the complete build. This build cured my imposter syndrome. I'm mostly joking, but wow, I really like how this turned out. Through most of the process, I was worried I'd bitten off more than I could chew, but the final product looks so majestic. I can't believe I pulled it off. I think this is the Ratatouille of Brickspiration MOCs. I could do this for years to come, but I'll always look at this one with fond pride. We got minifigs.me's stunning customs populating the build, the gang hanging out, and then Zuko camping on the other side of the build. I built him a little tent. It's almost like camping, but maybe he'll even roast some marshmallows. Don't forget to use my affiliate link so you can get 10% off these beauties. The fountain's chamber features several columns to hold up the ceiling, a waterfall that leads into the sweet abyss of death, and metal pillars to use for protection against firebenders. I used as many texture bricks as I could find, mainly masonry bricks, log bricks, and angled bricks, plus tons of modified stud bricks to include exposed studs. One of the things I love about this build are these branches. I have them throughout the cliff wall. I'm imagining they're roots or something like that, but they add a lot of greenery and a lot of nice little angles. Speaking of greenery, moving up to the top layer, you can see the tree design I landed on, which in hindsight reminds me of the Lorax's fake trees.
And disco!
She call me Mr. Bombastic, tell me fantastic, touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Rowe.
I also included these new curved pieces from the LEGO Rivendell set. In addition, I got several patches of ferns around the beaten path. Moving back underground, we can look at the temple builds. I struggled a lot with designing the angled roofs, but the result is really cool. The larger of the two is 3 layers and the second is 2 layers, and to give the idea that they're abandoned, I've sprinkled in plant life and inconsistencies throughout the design. Masonry bricks coming in clutch as usual to accomplish that. Guys, if you're an aspiring MOC builder, put aside some money to buy some masonry bricks. They are so goated for adding some texture to your builds. Each time the temple gets smaller, I'm using jumper plates so it's half a stud difference. I really like how this came together, but it is fragile, which makes me fear for transporting it. That's all I've got for you today. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Consider subscribing. Thanks again to minifigs.me and to viewers like you. Thank you. See you next time.